Hello and welcome back to another one. I'm Will and this is Will Weekly. Now I've been watching some videos regarding the Aquaman movie and director James Wan, and he's been talking about, what it's taken to make this movie happen, the research he had to do and everything involved in this movie. And I'm starting to feel a lot better about this film. I was a little bit skeptical originally when I first watched the trailer, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm feeling a lot better about it. And then I found this one article by BuzzFeed in which they interviewed him, and he gave kind of like 7 interesting facts about the movie. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I think it gives a lot of good information, a lot of detail about what to expect from this upcoming Aquaman. So let's get started. First of all, Atlanteans are built to withstand the pressure of the depths, so their physical makeup is not the same as that of humans, so they're extra compact and dense and strong. And this is what James Wan had to say. They're so deep in the ocean that their bodies are hardened, said James Wan. Maybe not to the extent of Man of Steel. Bullets aren't necessarily pinging off them, but regular human weapons don't inflict the kind of pain that they typically would. In the movie, he gets shot with a grenade launcher and he goes down, but he gets back up. So this is very interesting because it's kind of showing you the extent of Aquaman's strength and durability and what he can withstand. So there he's saying he gets shot with a grenade launcher, but that doesn't kill him. It knocks him down, but he gets back up. And that's incredible. To be shot with a grenade launcher and still be alive. I mean, the dude is super strong, of course, from what we've seen in other trailers and in Justice League. But wow, that is impressive, and it makes sense. Atlanteans, bottom of the ocean, regular humans can't withstand that pressure, but they can, so their bodies are extra hard. But I think that could be cool in the movie. So moving on to number 2 with James Wan. Creating the 7 Kingdoms was technically challenging, which is why it took until now to make the film. It makes sense, they probably couldn't make this film in the 90s because the special effects were advanced, but not to the point that they are now. And now that I'm looking at the trailer again and everything, Atlantis, it looks pretty cool. It reminds me of Avatar. I can't wait to see this in the big screen, maybe in 3D. I think it's going to look amazing. So here he says, the world that he's from is not an easy one to execute, but I didn't want to make an Aquaman movie where most of it took place on dry land, say Wan. He comes from such a magical place. The 7 different kingdoms are so exciting, and it's like going on a journey into this fantasy realm, but it takes place right on our own planet. So that's a lot of interesting info right there. 7 kingdoms is not just Atlantis, it's just there's these other kingdoms as well, and I hope to see those kingdoms interacting and the drama that's down there. It kind of reminds me of Game of Thrones a little bit, where they have the different kingdoms spread out all over the place. And I really like what he said here, where he didn't want to make a movie where Aquaman is mainly in regular land, because that's, to me, that would have been the easy way out. That would have been a cop out. It reminds me of Thor #1, the original Thor, where he's mainly in like New Mexico and something like that. And to me, it was like, what? I don't want to see Thor in that setting. I want to see Thor in Asgard. I want to see Thor in space. I want to see Thor in his magical elements. And so I really like this, that James Wan is taking up the challenge of really having Aquaman in Atlantis, in his home element, in his home space, and showing all these different amazing cities. Moving on to number 3, Mara Amber Heard's character will play a huge role in the film. The women in this movie are not damsel in distress, say Wan. Mara doesn't need saving. If anything, she saves Aquaman a lot because he's not accustomed to the world of Atlantis. You can't read an Aquaman comic book without Mara being a part of it. They're really a dynamic duo. She's really strong and really smart. Amber and I, early on, really wanted to create a character that young girls could look up to. Wow, that's pretty interesting. So a couple of times she saves him. I mean, it kind of makes sense. She's from that world. She knows it better than he does. So she's also going to be kind of like the guide for him to help him discover this new world underwater that he originally was from. Now, number 4, the main conflict of the film will focus on pollution and how it's making Atlantis sick. Now, that's really interesting, especially given everything that's going on in the news. I think they have the red tide, I think they call it, in Florida, that's killing all this fish because of the pollution. I mean, it's really sad. I watched the footage of the stuff going on in Florida, and there's all these fish in the beach, and it's really dangerous and toxic. and it's terrible. Thousands and thousands of fish are dying over there in Florida. So let's see what he says. All the crap that we just sort of pollute and throw out literally goes down there into the ocean, and that's where these characters live, said Wan. The concept is that the Atlanteans are getting sick from all the stuff that we poured down there. That makes sense. I mean, let's say if this was real and, you know, there was people living down there and there was a civilization down there and we're just polluting the waters, it makes sense they would get pissed off. I mean, if that was my home, I'd get pissed off too. All right, number 5. Patrick Wilson, King Orm, believes he is the rightful king of Atlantis and decides he's done putting up with all the surface world's trash. Literally. And he says, it's not another superhero movie where the villain is from outer space or another dimension. The threat is coming right below us, said Wan. What makes his anger for the surface world so relatable is that he's just tired of all the crap from the surface world, like literally the crap that they send down into the ocean. I mean, so this king from the Atlantis, he has a legitimate motivation to start a war with the surface world, because like James Wan said, you know, we're throwing all this crap into the ocean, going down to the bottom of the ocean, and the king's getting pissed off. If I was a king down there, I'd be pissed off as well, and I would try to fight for my people. So I like that this villain, he's a villain, but he's also relatable, and I think relatable villains make the most interesting villains. Like, for example, Killmonger in Black Panther, a lot of people found him relatable, and a lot of people actually sided with Killmonger, and I think this is the case in this situation as well, where, you know, it kind of makes sense why this king would be upset at the surface world. Number 6, according to Wan, Jason Momoa and the Aquaman share similar life stories. Oh, that's interesting. Aquaman's a guy who is half Atlantean and half surface world human, said Wan. He doesn't feel like he belongs in either world, and that's how Jason was growing up. You know, he's half Polynesian, half white as well. Growing up in Hawaii, people would kind of make fun of him because he didn't look like them. Then he moved to Middle America and didn't look like them, so he always felt like a fish out of water wherever he was. That's interesting because I feel like Jason Momoa is the perfect Aquaman. He really has an original look. He really looks like he comes from somewhere else. He's mixed, and I can't think of better casting for Aquaman. He makes him look cool. He makes him look relatable, and he's very entertaining to watch as well. I like Jason Momoa in his role. Perfect casting, I think, in my opinion. All right, number 7. And finally, at its core, there's a story about overcoming your insecurities and realizing your own greatness. Wow, I like that. Very positive message, it seems. Aquaman feels like he doesn't belong, but what he finally comes to understand through his journey is that he has the best of both worlds, said Wan. And I think that the theme will resonate in a strong way to the world that we live in now, which is no longer just black and white. There are all these people who are in between that, and now they'll finally have a POC hero to look up to who is Polynesian Asian background, which is so cool. I think that's really cool because I think he's right. I think it really relates to what's going on in the world where there's all these kinds of people. There's all these biracial people, people with different cultures all over the place. Like me, I'm Latino, I'm from Costa Rica, but you know, my ancestors came from all over the place. I'm half black, I'm half white, part Indian. You know, I'm like a mix of, I'm like a hybrid of all these different things, and there's a lot of people like that as well in the world. So it's kind of cool that we have a superhero that is a little bit different. I like everything that James Wan has to say in this interview. Very interesting, very insightful, and I really think he did his homework for this movie. I'm really looking forward to this movie now. I think it's going to be a great action adventure, not just a superhero movie, but like an action adventure movie. Looking back at the trailer, some of it reminds me of a little bit of Indiana Jones, believe it or not. I'm not saying that, you know, he looks like Indiana Jones or anything like that. It just has this adventure feel, and his character, Aquaman, he's so fun, and he has like this charisma and this comedic timing that in that sense, it kind of reminds me of Indiana Jones because of the feel of his character. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about these comments that James Wan made about Aquaman. Are you excited about this movie like I am? Leave me a comment. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.